Hello, everyone, and welcome to a Lab Gab special at SL20B. I'm your host, Strawberry Linden, and I'm here at the beautiful SL20B Arboretum celebrating Second Life's 20th birthday with our CMO, Styfy Linden, and our VP of Marketing, Brett Linden. Hi, Brett and Styfy. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Thank you. Hello.
How are you guys doing?
Pretty
Great.
good. Very excited. Lots going on this week.
I know a lot. Actually, that I wanted to ask you, have you had a chance to explore SL20B? And if so, what are your favorite exhibits? This was a trick question because SLB hasn't actually started yet because we're recording earlier. I did the same thing with Grumpity and Mojo. And so they kind of mentioned some things that they're looking forward to exploring.
I'll tell you, I've been to the Music Fest, which was really great. I haven't been over to the exhibit space yet, though, I have to be honest.
Okay. How about you, Brett?
Yeah, I'm aware of who's exhibiting, but, honestly, as of this recording, I've not had a chance to check it out. Very excited about the Motown exhibit, which links to the new Motown space in the hub, which I know we'll get into. And I see many, many familiar community members and in the exhibit space, and I cannot wait to check them out.
Okay, excellent. I can't wait to check them out myself. So before we actually get into the questions that were submitted by the community, I'd like to give you both an opportunity to briefly introduce yourselves to our viewers. So please tell us how long you've been here at Linden Lab and what is your role here. Brett, why don't you go first?
Hi, so I'm Brett Linden, and I've been now at Linden Lab almost exactly to the week, 16 years. Oh my God. So I've been here a long time. And I think most people know my backstory from probably last year, but basically before this was in the private industry as a tech and entertainment reporter at Billboard, and I worked in the tech industry, so just a lot of that stuff. But I've been really happy to see the progress of Second Life over the last, now 20 years. And I've been a resident for longer than the 16 years, but 16 years as a Linden.
Wow, amazing. How about you, Styfy?
So my story is kind of the opposite. I have been here for about 18 months. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for Linden Lab. So I guess by SL20B standards, I'm still somewhat of a newbie. But in my experience, I've kind of done lots of things. I've been worked on the client side from a marketing perspective in the entertainment space and retail. I've run agencies. I've worked for some big technology companies as well. But I've never had as much fun as I'm having working with people here at Linden Lab at Second Life.
It's a lot of fun working here, I have to admit. So we're here celebrating Second Life's 20th birthday. It's very exciting. However, I'm sure that presents some good challenges and opportunities for the marketing team. So what is the marketing team doing to mark this occasion, and how has marketing taken promotions of this year's 20th birthday to the next level compared to previous birthday events?
So I would say that we are doing kind of our theme is bigger and wider. We're doing, I'd say, what we would normally do, but I think we're just putting Strawberry a lot more emphasis on kind of the kind of the scope and the breadth and depth of what we're doing with them. So, for instance, we always would send out an announcement email, but we sent out 6x, 6 times larger than our normal, because this is just such a big milestone.
Yeah.
We're obviously doing press. We're obviously doing a lot with socials. We are, so we're doing everything that we would normally do, but I would say that we're just doing it at a kind of a factor higher than we've done kind of previously, or at least based off of my 1 year that I was here last year when we did 19. And really, I'd say because this is such a milestone, we are really, I think, stretching it kind of even outside of the community a lot. Hopefully you've seen some of the great press that we've received. I think like articles in The Guardian, et cetera, that celebrate the 20th birthday. So I think that's a great example of where we're really trying to kind of stretch this out.
So speaking of press, I know the marketing team works closely with a PR agency to handle all the media outreach and responses. What has been the general tone of the media towards Second Life this year? I mean, I know last year there was a really strong interest in all things, quote, Metaverse. Has that subsided? Has that subsided? How is SL perceived now that the hype has died down a bit?
So I work a lot with the PR firm, and I would say it has actually, and ironically benefited us because I think what last year we were really there was a lot of focus, on this kind of whole metaverse trend, and we were just kind of one of the several kind of organizations and groups that the press was paying attention to, and obviously some of the bigger companies were kind of taking a lot of the air in the room in that space. But our longevity, the strength of our communities, et cetera, and our staying power, and the fact that we're celebrating 20 years, I think now we have a credibility with the press that puts us in a space that is very different from those kind of flash in the pan kind of metaverse organizations that existed. So it's actually had the opposite effect for us, which is it's really positioning us as kind of the gold standard of virtual worlds and the metaverse. And I think it's, I think you can see that in the kind of press that we've been getting. We're not the one of 6 calls anymore. We're in many cases the first call and the only call that a reporter is making to get insights on what's going on in the metaverse and virtual worlds.
Right, we're referred to the OG as a lot. So
I was going to say that, but I didn't want to. But yes, you're absolutely right.
All right. So how do you? Well, it's been 20 years. How do you keep the perception of SL fresh as a 20-year-old platform?
We are freshening things up, Strawberry.
Yes,
the community may have already seen a little bit of this. The destination guide has had a whole overhaul with more functionality, more changes to come, but it looks a lot more modern. Other web properties and collateral, the marketing stuff that we do, videos, images, and so forth. I really want to also make sure that we give props to the community, which really is also helping us. I mean, they're doing amazing work in terms of taking advantage of what Second Life can do to create beautiful content and creative imagery. And so our team itself has also been expanded to take advantage of that. We've got more community resources, a great machinima artist who's on board now. So I really feel like we're upping our game to take advantage of this moment where we're under heightened scrutiny, as a 20-year pioneer. So yeah, looking forward to mobile and what that's going to unlock for us in terms of people seeing us in a different light. I don't know, Stephen, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I think, I think one other thing that we are really, in terms of trying to kind of keep this fresh is we've really formalized a way to kind of get feedback and insights from existing community members, new community members, potential kind of residents, et cetera, which has really helped us because it provides us with the feedback that we need in order to help drive some of the ideas that we think forward, like things like the hub, et cetera. So I think it's really important, and I think that's one of the ways that we're going to keep this fresh is by always keeping kind of our ears open and always talking to lots of different people, current residents, new residents, potential residents, to continue to kind of challenge ourselves and our ideas.
Right, absolutely. So aside from the SL20B promotions and campaigns, what else is marketing working on to help spread the word about Second Life in the coming year?
Well, I think what we've really started to do is we've really started to look at marketing very broadly. That it is, it's not only about driving, what we'll call, not to use too much marketing speak, but to drive pipeline, to drive traffic into and potential new users into things like secondlife.com, but also really looking at kind of what role that marketing plays kind of as a resident kind of traverses their way through the journey of Second Life.
Right.
How do we help them when they first come in and help them get acclimated and get them connected, et cetera. And then frankly, as they become a more established resident, what are the kinds of things that we could do to kind of help enhance their experience and enhance kind of their life within Second Life. And so we don't, I think, well, that's been one of the things that we've really tried to do, is to really just kind of challenge ourselves and kind of spread our thinking, so that we aren't just kind of one silo, but that we're thinking more broadly across, from somebody who's got a twinkle in their eye that might be interested, all the way through to that resident who has been kind of within Second Life for a long time. What can we do to help make things better, or to help them through this journey?
Right. Brett, do you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, Stephen said pretty much all of it that I would say, but I would say really reiterating that so often people think of us in the context of acquisition only, but that first critical few moments, minutes, hour, whatever you want to say, for a new user when they come in, the hub, which I'm sure many in the community have noticed or will be learning about, is something that marketing has been really proud to be involved in, because it is so important that the first impressions are good. And in so many ways, not just with the fidelity and visuals of what people see, but the experience and the social experience that people have, and that it be welcoming. And so seeing things like the mentor program and greeters come back in, and the hub and the design of that, which is very intentional in terms of what people see in their first moments, is something that marketing is really, really happy to be a part of, because we can pull all the tricks to bring people in the door. But then what happens once they get there? We want people to stick around and really see and connect to the community at its finest. So that's an area of focus for us moving forward.
Okay, so with the next question, I'm going to get a little bit controversial. What would you say is the biggest misconception about what the marketing team does or does not do for Second Life? For example, I've seen a wide variety of interpretations about what marketing should or should not do from the community forums.
That is tricky. Yeah, go ahead, Stephen.
No, you go ahead, Brett.
I think we both have opinions on this, right? So, I mean, listen, I think I understand where people might not fully get. I mean, they're not here side by side with us day in and day out, so they don't see the inner workings of it. And so it's ripe for misunderstanding. Totally get that. I'd say the things that I see the most by observing the forums and interacting with the community are, number one, oftentimes people will simplify their perception of what we do to maybe just doing paid ads. And if they don't see paid ads, they think, well, then what's marketing do? But the reality is that's a teeny sliver of the full equation. So things like public relations, which I know Stephen can speak to, involving our external agency, community engagement. We just mentioned the hub, which speaks to really connecting to the community and what that experience is like. Things related to retention and conversion. The biggest thing I see is probably just an oversimplification of what people perceive marketing to do. And remember too that we're one department within the company. We work very closely with the product and product operations teams in particular. So sometimes features and things that people see, they either like them or don't like them. They'll oftentimes misattribute that to marketing for some strange reason, but it's really, we try to stay in step with those teams, but sometimes we're leaning in and driving, and sometimes we're coordinating with them. I don't know, Stephen, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I would echo everything that you said, Brett. I think there's often a misconception out there that all we do is basically drive pipeline and buy ads and things like that. And the reality is that we are kind of involved through that entire roadmap that I talked about previously, and that Brett just articulated as well. So I think that is, what marketing kind of touches all these different pieces. It might be in very different kinds of ways, whether it's just providing insight that the product team can use, or whether it's doing something more directly, like helping with the development of a specific kind of a solution, like the hub, etc. But we're deeply involved kind of across the entire kind of resident journey.
Right. Well, so the next question, unfortunately, is for me. So, I am the social media manager, so I'm going to try my best to answer it. But the question is, social media continues to be an important part of what marketing does work on. What is new with your social media strategy this year? Can we expect any changes in the coming year? So do you guys want to tackle that first?
I want to hear what you have to say, right, Strawberry?
Yeah.
Putting me in the hot seat wasn't planned.
Exactly.
My main goal is really to feature as much of the community as possible, because I really feel like our community makes us shine. And just to be able to, do spotlight interviews or feature their work, use the spotlight to feature their work, video work or photography or whatever they're actually doing, is one of my biggest goals this year, to really feature a lot of different creative residents on the platform, and also spreading out to other social media like TikTok and so forth. We have a TikTok contractor who's doing amazing videos for us. We have our own machinima employee as well, doing really great. So I'm really focused on video content because that's what's really popular on social media these days. Short form video content, also long form as well, depending on what the topic is. And that's a strategy right now, just for retention, and of course, going forward, we'll use that for paid ads and so forth as well. Did you guys want to add to that?
The only thing that I would add is, again, I think we are really trying to do kind of go deeper and kind of support what we need to do from a social perspective, kind of even more than we have in the past, like continuing to look at, which channels have worked for us, what can we do,
right.
What can we do to kind of push even harder there. And I love the fact that you brought up like TikTok as well, Strawberry, because I think we're also evaluating, are there new places that we need to really start to think about and start to really, learn more, et cetera. I think we've got some great ideas around that. And TikTok's an incredibly important vehicle and space for especially younger potential new residents in particular. So, playing there. But I do want to just say one thing, which is you do just a spectacular job with kind of managing the socials for us. And I cannot thank you enough. It is such a pleasure to work with somebody as buttoned up and as thorough as what you do. So we do a great job from a social perspective, and so much of that is flowing directly from you.
Thank you so much. Brett, did you want to add anything to that?
Well, I just disagree completely with what No, I'm just kidding. Of course, Strawberry, you're a legend. We love you.
Oh, good.
And in fact, I just want to say to this question and I was just looking through like our social streams and like scrolling back the last week to 2 weeks. First of all, I was amazed at just the amount of stuff that is on there and the diversity of what's on there, like the videos and the different events and the types of content that was there. And obviously it also speaks to the community and what we see in the community, whether they be like, I think I saw Hair Fair and then Pride, and of course, SL20B, the ultimate community celebration. We had a Motown announcement. Like, it was just kicking some, like, it's really impressive. And I love that we can celebrate and highlight what the community is creating through socials and telling their stories. So I love that. There's always more to do, but I do love what we have right now. If I were to say one thing I'm looking forward to in the new year, which is a challenge for all of us, it's probably just video, and video is so important. And like I just was reading, I know TikTok has opportunities for us. I was reading a little bit about Kick, which I think we have a presence on, this newer video streaming platform. So I think we're going to experiment there, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm just very excited to see where that goes in the coming year.
Me too. I'm excited too. I learn a lot more, so it's great for me as well. So the next question is actually about community-created content as well. How important is community-created content, and how do you leverage the power and creativity of the community in your outreach and your campaigns?
So I will just say that to me, this is probably one of the biggest opportunities that we have. I mean, this is huge for us. Second Life is built kind of through its creators and has such incredible content that flows from it. And I think that this is frankly the cornerstone for me of of our entire kind of marketing strategy, especially for bringing new residents into Second Life. I've got a question for everybody though in the community, which is, what more can we do to help you? Are there specific ideas that you can kind of offer up to us as to what we can do? Because what we've learned very quickly and through some insights and some research that we've done is that the best way to kind of bring people into Second Life is to have somebody who is somehow connected, who either told them about us or invited them in, or was a mentor to them when they came through the door, etc. And so what we would love to try to do is figure out, and Strawberry and I talk about this a lot, and Brett and I talk about this a lot, which is, and if you as a community have any ideas here around what we can do to kind of help support you to kind of support Second Life.
For sure. I don't know, maybe we should share our feedback. We have a feedback email that goes to the marketing team. Brett, do you want to share that one with them? Is that...
We do have a general email. It's for, in general, feedback related to marketing or really anything. And it's being monitored by a few folks, including a couple of us in marketing. It's just simply feedback@lindenlab.com.
Great to know. Did you want to add anything to that question?
I think it's been said. The headline is community is at the core and heart of all that we do. Celebrating, amplifying, putting out there the community and its creativity. Obviously, I think that we see that in our socials, and it's at the heart of everything we think about when we try to represent Second Life the best that we can.
Absolutely. So you were talking about this earlier. One new area of focus for the marketing team is a focus on ensuring that new users stick around longer, retention and engagement. In the last week, we launched a new user-centric community hub. Can you tell us a bit more about that? What is the goal with this hub, and what will we see happen with it over the next few months?
The hub, right? The community hub. Yeah. So some folks who are listening or watching this might have noticed that we have, I would say quietly, but here we are talking about it, so maybe not so quietly, been testing what I will say is version 1 of an idea for a centralized community hub. And I want to qualify that by saying that this is an experiment. We're learning, and we know that there's a lot to learn, and we're observing very closely the good and the bad of what happens in the beginning, critical first moments, minutes of a Second Life new user as they come in. It's so important to really understand that. And the hub is our attempt through architecture and strategy to really do better at understanding and responding to those critical first few moments. And the reason why that's important is for all of us, long-timers and newcomers alike, we want Second Life to be healthy for another 20 years. Right. And so this is really critical for us to do better in these areas for retention. I also want to give a shout out and recognition to the community gateways that are all out there as well, and also important. Absolutely. And this augments what we see already with the community gateways. So some of the new user activity will go directed to the hub, as we're calling it internally. And, and it's not just the architecture of the hub, like what you see from a design point of view. That's obviously important. It's also the idea that we have the mentors and greeters there, which, is really important to have a welcoming, helpful, social first experience as well. And so, that lays down a little bit of it, but from a strategic point of view, I think we're going to learn a lot and respond. And I'm very much looking forward to what will be V2 and V3 and beyond of what we're calling the hub. Stephen, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with everything that you said. And the one thing that I did just want to highlight about the hub is that, again, a great proof point of listening and responding. A lot of the ideas and a lot of the functionality and the kind of things that we brought into the hub that really flowed from us, talking to recent residents, what really drove their success, who were the hands that held, or who held their hand as they went through this process, and how did they get through this process? And Brett did a phenomenal job of really kind of bringing all of that in and then bringing that to life with, the broader team around the hub. So again, back to, listening to our residents and kind of learning from them and making sure that we can apply from that learning.
I want to talk about another area of that might be interesting to the community is how Second Life is looking at the possibility of brand and entertainment partnerships, like we just had with Motown. Any news to share here? What can we expect in the next year?
So I will say, much like press, I think last year when there were all of these metaverses and all of this kind of discussion around metaverse, we were kind of one of a list of companies that brands and other kind of entertainment companies, et cetera, would consider. Now that we have really become, I would say, one of the cornerstones, and certainly the cornerstone virtual world, we are the place that these brands and these entertainment properties are now coming to. We're part of a much shorter list, maybe 3 to 5 entities total, and so we're just getting an enormous amount of interest. So kind of you'd think that in a year when the metaverse maybe is not as kind of top of mind, that you'd be the opposite, but it's actually, we're having kind of the opposite effect where we're getting an enormous amount of interest. So again, and so we get approached by many different kinds of partners. But I'll tell you, the one thing that we're very clear about is that we don't just do a partnership to do a partnership. We do a partnership that we believe will be additive to our residents and to the experiences of our residents. I think Motown will be. Hopefully, everybody should go and experience it. It's great, and we're just getting started with them. So hopefully that'll be a great proof point of this. But we've been approached by many different companies and brands that we're considering. So I definitely think you will see more partnerships in the future, but you're not going to see us just doing partnerships to do a partnership. My commitment to you, and I think our whole commitment to all of this team's commitment to you, is that the partnerships will add value to your in-world experience within Second Life.
I'm really looking forward, especially to the Motown events and so forth. So a lot of exciting stuff happening. So many in the community were very pleased to see the web version of the destination guide get a much needed update earlier this year. Brett, I'd love you to give us a little bit of a history about the destination guide. When and how did it start? And are there any plans to update it further?
Wow, and that goes way back. So this was one of my first projects when I joined here, because I have an editorial and reporter background. So I came in, I'm like, okay, well, how can we improve discovery of cool stuff? Because there's so much going on in SL.
Right.
And at that time, there really wasn't very much, and search and events was about it, but there was a lot to be desired in the implementation at the time. So it was really a no-brainer that we would create some form of guide. I think we called it Showcase at the beginning. And it was just that. It was meant to be a showcase of cool and noteworthy community experiences and events, and so forth. And of course, it's just blossomed from there. At some point, it got rechristened as Destination Guide, and that makes sense because it is a guide to the cool destinations. And so, gosh, and Strawberry, I know you work with it daily, so you work with me, know probably intimately what the good and the bad of that is. Managing that, it's a lot to keep on top of. At the heart of it are the community submissions, because the community, there's no way we can know every nook and cranny of Second Life by ourselves. So the community does a great job of letting us know, what's going on, and then we'll curate that from there to make it the best. In terms of the destination guide where it is today, we mentioned earlier that it's just had a refresh, which is fantastic. It looks more polished now. And it's not just the look of it, it's the functionality of it. So people who have used it, we heard for a long time, hey, can you add this feature or this, other area to it? So one of the most requested features that we finally got implemented is search. Crazy, right? That you'd want to search in a guide. So the basic search functionality on the web version of the destination guide is now there. And that alone is such a blessing to have that. We have other features coming out as well. I don't want to make a suggestion on the timeline, but we are resourcing additional revisions to include things like population counts. I would love the ability to go in and be able to filter by most popular, most active. If I'm somebody who wants to get a guaranteed social experience, there's nothing more frustrating than going into an empty spot. And so that data will really, and the design will help people find that social experience a lot easier. There's other things on the table that are, we got to look at the resourcing and so forth. But, we're looking at things like favoriting or favorites, bookmarking, that kind of thing. And again, we talk about destination guide. When I say that, or you say that, people may view it differently, because you can consume the destination guide on the web, obviously, but you can also consume it within the browser, the viewer.
The viewer,
Yeah, and so, the destination itself, the architecture, the engine that drives it, is actually more complex than I think people realize. It is not just one place. So you can check it out on the web, you can check it out in the viewer. The data, the feeds that drive Destination Guide have other places as well, like on the logins page. for the official viewer. I know Firestorm picks that up as well. I think on the maps pages as well. I'm sure I'm forgetting some, but it gets surfaced in a lot of places. You will absolutely see us continue to innovate and evolve it. And you know, it's on our roadmap for the next 6 months, let's say.
And I'm looking forward to all those changes. So how can destinations be featured on the destination guide? And are there and our weekly destination videos that we do? And what is that process? And also, how can residents get featured for interviews on Spotlight or LabGap? I think I just set myself up for it to answer this question.
That's for you.
Okay, so I'm going to put a bunch of links in the description of this video for the submission form for the destination guide. It's basically a submission form. You just have to fill out your, your name and your the SLurl, a little description and an image, and that will help us get your, give you a chance to be featured on the destination guide. And our weekly destination videos are literally just destinations that we found on the destination guide that we liked, and we wanted to make a video about it. So if you want to have a weekly destination video made about your destination, make sure you sign up for the destination guide. And the Spotlight interviews, at the end of every Spotlight interview, at the bottom of it, there is a sign up link. You can sign up. I will let you know that I am like literally months and months behind of signups, because it's just a long process to, think of questions and email and then, get it all done. So please sign up and just be patient and just check your email periodically. And yeah, I'm literally just going through the list. For LabGap, I don't really do that regularly. I'm not sure if I will continue to do that, but we'll see in the future. There isn't a sign-up process for it, but definitely sign up for Spotlight. And if I feel like it's worthy of a LabGap, then we can figure that out as well. I'm going to go on to the next question. This was a community submitted question as well. There's a bit of a buzz about Thunder, which is a new dating app made just for Second Life. We also made a destination video about it a few months back around Valentine's. Some folks might find it a bit silly. Do you think an app like this can really help people make better connections in Second Life? And what could be the upsides and downsides?
I think this is a Steven question, but I just want to say that I love Thunder. I think they've done a great job. We've actually met with them just to learn more about what they're doing. And there's other services like that as well. And they do a fantastic job of connecting people who want to meet others together, which speaks to the larger issue of connecting people. So Steven, I know you probably have a lot to say about this.
No, I think first of all, I think, I'm not going to comment so much on Thunder. I think Brett kind of covered that, but I will say, again, based on the insights that we have collected and talking to, people who've joined, new residents, recent residents, people who didn't stick around, it's this idea of forging a connection and quickly forging a connection or finding groups or individuals for you to connect to is absolutely critical. And so, I think we're looking at lots of different ways and lots of different solutions that we could apply to kind of help with this. So things like Thunder, that seems like a great idea, but I think there's some other things that we're looking at as well to kind of help, really help people find the community, the group, the experience that they're looking for when they come into Second Life.
Yeah. I actually like Thunder too. I think it's a great way to connect with people in SL. So I don't find it silly at all. What strategies are you employing to attract a new generation of residents, and would you consider targeting artists and creatives specifically in your marketing campaigns?
So whoever asked this question must have been sitting behind me at a meeting that I was at just a couple of days ago, because this is a passion area for me in particular, which is when you look at kind of where Second Life came from and the strength and the importance of the creator community, I really want us to start to, focus a lot more in terms of, how we can kind of invite the next generation of creators kind of into the world and bring and kind of help guide them into this, this really amazing place. We're looking at very broadly at, things like, in-world kinds of apprenticeships, potentially doing partnerships with, colleges and universities to kind of help guide, students into in world, et cetera. So I don't have the answer for this, but it is absolutely a focus area. And I think it's something that we're going to really start to, try to put a little bit more pen to paper on as we go through the rest of 2023.
Sounds exciting. I like it. So what are the next question from the community? What are the current demographics of Second Life residents compared to 10 years ago and 20 years ago? And are there any differences?
So I don't know what the demographics were 20 years ago, but I would suspect that they were younger. I suspect, it was predominantly a lot of creators, which was probably skewing a little bit younger at that time. But I do not know what the demographics were then. I do know that now our demographics we are great for 30-year-olds plus. Our challenge is that 18 to 29-year-old. And by the way, this is not a challenge that is, kind of unique to Second Life. I would say virtual worlds in general are really challenged with how they can bring, younger kinds of residents into their worlds. I mean, there are obviously virtual worlds, I call them virtual playgrounds, that do a really good job with, under 16-year-old or under 13 years old. And then there's places like us that I think are really ready built for all residents. But it's that group there that has been, kind of a real challenge, and that we're all trying to solve for. So we're spending a lot of time, and I think we're going to be doing a lot more in terms of trying to understand, kind of what are the challenges there, what are the hurdles, et cetera. I think even exploring different kinds of media channels such as TikTok, et cetera, is something, it's one of the reasons we're looking at that. But this is a real focus for us. We have an entire group, a multifunctional group within Second Life that is focused on growth, and this is really the predominant focus of that group.
Okay, great. Though I just have a couple more questions left. The next one is going to be for both of you. Where do you see Second Life in 10 years?
Wow. Okay. So that's a tricky question because a lot can happen in 10 years, right? So we'll get out our crystal ball here. I definitely hope that we continue to innovate and expand, often, of course, driven by the community and what they do that drives Second Life forward. I think looking backwards, we're already known for helping to mainstream the concepts of virtual communities, the cultures and economies. So obviously I'd love to see us continue that evolution, but I'd also like to see us scale to things like larger concurrencies so that more people can enjoy Second Life together. I'd like to see us available more broadly, really excited about mobile, which is definitely in the pipeline. But above and beyond all of that, I really hope that we continue to be known and lead a much needed service that we provide to people and to society. And that's creating a welcoming creative space that is really honoring and respectful of freedom of expression and people's individuality. So I love that that is one of the heart, sort of the heart of Second Life right now. And I really want to make sure that that doesn't get lost in whatever Second Life becomes and evolves into over the next 10 years.
For sure. How about you, Stephen?
I will say pretty much exactly what Brett said, which is the power of Second Life is, in its creators and in its community. And I think we're celebrating our 20th birthday, and that is still the cornerstone of who we are. And I think when we celebrate our 30th birthday, that is still going to be the cornerstone of who we are. I think that what community and how we engage and with our communities and how we're engaged with our creators will obviously change. Technology will affect that, et cetera, over the next 10 years. But we have this very powerful brand and this very powerful platform. And I don't think that, what we're known for is going to change. And that is, I think, the proof point of, being a successful organization, or like we are, is that it won't change. We will always be the gold standard in this space. But again, we'll just be a little bit different, or maybe even a lot different in terms of what that means, driven by technology and other factors.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. So the last question, as I said to Grumpy and Mojo, I'm trying to start a war. Is Second Life a game? What do you think, Styfy? Is Second Life a game?
I do not think Second Life is a game. I think it is a true virtual world. I think that the level of community, the level of engagement, the way that you can kind of live a life and choose the life that you want to live. I don't think that's a game. I think that there are you can argue with me on that. I've argued with several members of the press about this, by the way. But I actually do not think that we are a game. I think there are incredibly fun and gaming-like elements to us, but I think we are in this unique space of being truly a virtual world.
And how about you, Brett?
Oh, you're gonna pit me against Stephen, huh? No, I fully agree with him. I think the only thing if I were to give a very quick answer, I'd say yes and no. I think Second Life is different things to different people, and it's whatever you want to make of it. So for some people may view it that way, but I think to Stephen's point and my own experience, it definitely is an oversimplification and probably a misidentification to call it a game. I think it's just so much more nuanced than that. So, but if people want to view it that way and it does that for them, it makes them happy, fine. But it is much, much, much more than that.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys giving me the time to. I know you guys are so busy, so I really appreciate you coming in and answering all the questions for me and for the community. I do want to give you an opportunity. Any last words for our viewers? Brett, you want to go first? Which one?
No, just appreciate the time to share a little bit about what we're up to in marketing. Stay tuned. I think there's a lot of good stuff on the horizon. So thanks for tuning in.
Thank you. And how about you, Styfy?
Yeah, no, I will just echo we've got we've looked at what we've done over the last week or so. We've launched Motown. We have a new community hub. We've got a lot of stuff going on within SL20B. So we've got some great ideas, and I think, again, stay tuned. We are going to continue to really work to make Second Life kind of an even better place for all of you. So stay tuned.
Yay. Love the sound of that. Well, thank you again to you both, and thank you to our viewers. I hope you guys have been enjoying the SL20B Lab Gab specials. We have one more tomorrow with the moles, and I will see you guys later. Bye, everyone.